Hi everyone, welcome to Shamel Budgeting. In this tutorial, we'll explore the different features and tools we offer through Shamel. After we created our schedule, let's try to create a budget. Hit Create Budget. Then we have a question to select a template. We have our standard template, and then we have a specific template for AFI films, and that was through our collaboration with AFI. So we're going to stick with our standard template and then check the option to import from schedule to benefit from all the work we did on our schedule. And then hit next. We can find that we have 50 days of filming, and that's imported directly from the schedule. Then for the shoot year, we can choose 2025. And for location, we have a few options for states, and we're going to have more states and countries added in the coming weeks and months. So we'll stick with California, and then I'm going to choose a budget of $3 million. And I have to note that this estimated budget is only used to determine which union tiers apply to this specific budget. And then we can see the guilds and unions list below. You can check or uncheck whatever applies to your specific budget and needs, and then hit Create. Now we have our budget. We can go and check our assumptions. We can see that we have a specific tier from each of the guilds. So for SAG-AFTRA, we can see that theatrical basic agreement applies to this budget because our budget is more than $2 million. But for the DGA, it's theatrical low budget tier 3 because our estimated budget fits between 2.6 and 3.75, and so on. And then that's reflected in the globals that we already have set up here. If I go to SAG-AFTRA, I'm going to find the rates from that specific tier. And the same thing for the DGA and the remaining of the unions as well. If I go to check my fringes, I'm going to find my federal fringes, and then for the state, payroll, and also for the different unions in the specific budget. We have a few navigation tools to help you navigate between your accounts in this budget. The first way, you can easily go and click on Open to open a specific account, and then open a specific details. You can also navigate by hitting on the top hierarchy over here. So story and screenplay, or you can go to the top sheet as well. You can also double click on any of the accounts, and then again to go to details and go up by top sheet. You're also able to navigate between the different accounts and sub accounts by using your keyboard shortcuts. Let's say Command down and Command up. And then also you're able to use the Command right and left to go between different accounts. So I'm in producers, then directors, then cast. And then if I go to principal cast, I can move right to supporting and so on. And if I go Command up, I'll go to the top sheet as well. I can also right click on any of the accounts if I want to add a row or delete one, and I'm able as well to move them based on the needs of my production. We also have a view tool over here. I can show the actual and variance if I need to. I'm able to show the fringes for each of the accounts. I can also hide it and hide the total fringes, which is a row at the bottom of this budget. I can also add the dash into the account number based on the accounting system needed for this project. Some additional tools that would help in the details. If I go to any of my detailed accounts, I'm able to add rows or subtotal, duplicate rows, or delete them based on the needs of my specific project. Let's explore some of our accounts. Let's go to cast and principal cast. I'll find that I already have my cast members imported from the schedule with the amount of days they work and the schedule. and then I find the rates and the applicable fringes for each of them. If I go to my day players, I'll find a long list of all the day players imported from the schedule. Let's explore the account for property. And then I'll go to my prop rentals. I'll find a list of the props imported from my schedule. The same goes for picture vehicles and animals and weapons if the script has any of them. Let's explore how to apply fringes or tags to different details. Let's go back to our cast members, our principal cast, and then I can find that I have fringes applied to this line. I can edit the applicable fringes by just selecting this row, and I go to fringes and I can see what's already applied. I can change it based on the needs of my production and then hit apply. Additionally, I'm able to add a fringe range by selecting both of these rows, right click, and then add a fringe range. And then the fringe range is indicated through a line between the fringe icons. Now, when I apply a fringe range, the way fringes are calculated for that specific cast member would be slightly different. I can also remove this fringe range with a right click and then remove fringe range. If I need to suppress a specific line, I can just select that specific row. I go to tags and then suppress. I can undo that by going to tags again, uncheck suppress, and then hit apply. If I need to add a new tags or new groups, I can easily go to my tags menu at the top and then right click, add row, and then I can do, say, a sample tag, and then let's do test for this specific example. If I go out and go to my tags, I find my new tag or group here as well. Let's go back to our top sheet and explore a new tool. In Shamel, you're able to create different versions for your budget. If I go to version 1, I can hit create a new version. I can either duplicate the current version with all the assumptions, or I can duplicate it with slightly different assumptions, which I'm going to do in this example. Let's say this version is going to be for a different state, New Jersey, and for this specific one, we're going to have a estimated budget of $6 million. I'll hit create. Now, if I go to my assumptions, I'll find that I have different assumptions over here based on the estimated budget I inputted for this specific version. If I go to the bottom of my budget, I'll find that I have a contingency of a 10% as a standard. I'm able to change the percentage or even change the type of the contingency to be a flat rate of a specific amount. I'll just keep this as 10%. And then for New Jersey, the state offers tax rebate. And we already incorporated that in this new version of the budget. New Jersey tax credit. If I double click on that, I'll see my options here. I can see that we have a 30% tax rebate, and that's based on the percentage they have, which is between 30 to 35%. And you can click on this link for more information. And we already incorporated a specific tag and group to specify the New Jersey qualified expenses. Let's try an example over here. If I exit this and I go to camera, director of photography, let's assume that the cinematographer is a local hire and it's going to be a qualified expense. I can select this line and then I'm going to make it as a New Jersey qualified expense. I'm going to apply it. If I go back to my top sheet and then I'll find a portion of that is already applied here as a credit based on the tax credit for that specific state. Let's explore the credit tool more in details. Let's assume we have a specific state or town that offers a 20% back, and I need to create a credit for this specific town. I can just right click on any of the account, and I'm going to add a credit over here. And let's call this sample credit. And let's assume we're going to spend $1 million. And all of this is already a qualified expense for this specific town. And they are giving us back, as I mentioned, a 20% back. We have to keep in mind the cap type that would apply to this tax rebate. If there's no cap, then we're just going to get 20% out of a qualified expense of $1 million, then it's a $200,000. So that's the first example. If I add a new row, and let's have another example of $1 million as well, with a 20% back, but then the cap type is qualified spend. And let's say they have a qualified expense of $700,000, which means this cap is on the amount that would qualify for that specific credit. So we spend $1 million, but the cap is $700,000. So we're only going to get 20% of the $700,000, which is in this case $140,000. Let's take a look at a different example here by adding a new row, and let's say it's also $1 million for qualified expense, but then the cap type for this example is a credit cap, and let's say the cap is $150,000. The cap in this case is a cap on the credit, on the amount that this specific town or state would give out to each production. So 20% out of $1 million is $200,000. But then our $200,000 is hitting the cap for that specific town, which is in this case $150,000. So we would only get $150,000 as a credit back. I hope this simplifies the tool and clarify the difference between the different cap types. Final thing on this tool, obviously you're able to utilize the use of tags to make the calculation of your qualified expenses much easier. You can just create a tag for a specific town or state and tag all the expenses that would qualify for that specific town to make the calculation much easier. Once you're done, you can just hit create, and that will create your tax credit. I invite you to play more with the credit tool. There's more features on how to exclude the specific fringes based on the qualification and the specificity of each town. Finally, you can download your budget by going to report, and that will show you a preview of your budget, showing your top sheet and details. And then you have filters to be able to specify what do you want to be exported in your final budget. If you need a top sheet without the details or with the accounts and details, you can clear your zero accounts or the suppressed accounts and then be able to show the fringes on all levels, or maybe only on the top sheets. You can show or hide some of the columns as well. You're able to adjust your header and footer also. Let's say I'm going to call this my movie, and I have a producer here. I can show or hide the page number and the date as well, and then download my budget. Thank you.